takes is so I have to scroll farther to get the data I actually want.
It's the same thing.
Literally, it's like the third layer of that, because Google will like the top website. So it'll be like AI top website, and then the top website again, doing the same data 3 times. Redundant. Yeah. My favorite, it's not here, so I'll say this, but my favorite is the AI just really love to have it. For the first part of this project, E2, my partner was trying to figure out how to add audio to the scene, and he asked ChatGPT. And I was away at the time, I was doing something else. So I go away, I come back, and he use the audio. He's like, yeah, I'll hear it. And so I leave and come back. And he's like, think of it, it's been an hour. I'm like, hey, good deal. So what ChatGPT told him to do was, because he was like, I think he questioning us ChatGPT. So like, how do I make it in Unity so that audio switches depending on the scene that you're in? And ChatGPT thought the best solution for that was to write a script, which first of all, already too complicated. Right? Write a script that detects the name of the scene you're in and changes the sound clip of a indestructible audio source. And he's like, Jacob, this isn't working. I can't figure out why. And I'm like, I don't know why it's not working, but let me do this for a second. So I get this over here. 3 seconds, blah, 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 literally delete everything he did, audio source, audio clip, audio source. And I showed him, I'm like, done. And I was like, why did you do that? You didn't know what question to ask, so it gave you a wrong answer. Like, that's why I don't use ChatGPT to learn. It's not wrong, but it's not, you don't. But the reason why I like Google for that, if I type that into, if I type that question to Google, the first answer, thing to pop up will be Stack Overflow telling me I'm asking the wrong question. ChatGPT is like, oh, of course, your lordship. Of course, like, this is such a great question. Here's how you do it exactly like you're thinking. Like, no, I was doing it. You know?
More of this is potential downloaded, but that doesn't happen with other
The thing with Google, like the Google alphabet, it's like a 5% or more than wrong. So no matter
5%?
Well, let's just say 5%. Maybe more than that. Like, let's say 5%. It has to be.
Does it rough, John?
I don't know, but it's like, I feel like I want 5%. Probably like 5%.
I wonder if you like pass output from Gemini to ChatGPT and have them have a conversation with each other.
Okay.
And they set them up and have a conversation.
I hate to kill our conversation on AI. It feels timely, but we can get back to it soon. Okay, let's go ahead and get the lecture going. We are in the final stretch of P2, okay? The semester does not have that many weeks remaining in it, and so, I hope you can taste that end of semester showcase. We're going to be there very soon, okay? So today what we're going to do is we're going to launch P2 Gold. Going to talk about that a little bit. P2 Gold, just like P1 Gold, doesn't have a whole lot of tasks in it, okay? But it does provide you 7 days to kind of go back, fix up anything that was a little bit messed up, finish up your tasks that you might have skipped or not completed, and you're going to have just a couple new custom tasks that you're going to have to work on, okay? And so we'll go ahead and get to that in just a little bit. Your Culture 3 assignment was due today, Ready Player One. Thus far, we have basically seen the big budget blockbuster Hollywood films, and we've seen them in different eras, right? That's kind of interesting. But our next film, I think, is going to be a lot more challenging. In fact, it's a film that is very difficult to fully parse on your first viewing and really comes alive on your second viewing, okay? It is also a film that is... how do I say this? It's not super optimistic. In fact, some people would say it comes from a series that is downright dire. So it's going to be a very different film. It's going to be a shorter film. I hope you look forward to it. We'll introduce that next Monday, and then we'll have a film session a little bit afterward. I recommend attending that film session. We can use our discussion time before and after to really help clarify what's going on and what the film is trying to convey. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. I want to show you a company. This is called Augmented. This is a use case for XR that basically kind of fits into that popular kind of education and training category. This is about industrial process management and optimization. So how long does it take to onboard a new worker in a industrial manufacturing warehouse? How do you keep them safe, right? Prevent them from doing things that will get themselves or others harmed, right? This is a, very important moral thing to try and accomplish, but you can save a massive amount of resources and money and time if you can do this really well, okay? So Augmented is a company that tries to help you digitize workflows and basically help your employees be more efficient and safe at their job. You can see that the tool, the software, works through kind of a HoloLens style setup, right? So they can put an overlay in front of the eyes of the person doing the work. But this isn't just a device. Actually, you know what? I think we got a video here. Let's see if we got some audio. Here we go. Right, so you've got workers in a very industrial, potentially dangerous setting with very expensive equipment. You want to make sure that they're going to do the right things at the right moments. They're not going to accidentally destroy or damage the equipment or themselves. I will say to you, right, in these examples, you see that there are a lot of checklists. So you've got these workers going through their checklists, right? Push this button, do this, do that. Does anyone see that kind of stuff and get a little bit intellectually unsatisfied? They get told to press a button, but they're not really told why. Just press this. I'm going through something right now, maybe I can tell you about it in the future, where I am operating some very, very expensive and very destructive, potentially, machinery pretty much every day that I'm not teaching. So I'll let you wonder what I'm doing. And you often give simple checklists to people when they're doing that, not because, you want them to be drones and you're not going to explain why they're doing this, they don't know, but it is easy to accidentally forget a critical step in very involved, complex processes like this, and suddenly your machine is self-destructing or hurting people. And so, even though you know how these machines work, often you want to have backups and safeguards so that one day that you didn't sleep very much, you won't forget that one little step in the middle that gets someone killed, okay? So checklists are really, really important, it turns out, especially in dangerous situations like this. Anyway, one cool thing I wanted to point out was that there is an online kind of interface that allows people, I think we'll see in just a moment, yeah, here it is, to create these steps, these processes, these checklists, and also alter their timing when they come in, when do they show up, when do we give our technicians the reminders they need, and how do we remind them? Via audio, via overlay, so you don't need to go and pay a super expensive software consultant to build this kind of thing and to edit it and adjust it every time you need to change. Your manager can go in, log in, and make some new steps if you discover that more are necessary. So, kind of cool stuff. This is a company that's based out of Singapore. You might suspect such. One of their partners is Singapore Management University. They have a bunch of other partners as well. Shell, you probably know. Lufthansa, you might know. And so, I've said this before, but you have to be a bit careful when someone lists a partner like this, unless they're going into details, right? This could just be someone who responded to their email. right? Oh, yes, Lufthansa responded to our email, and so we're going to put them, yes, we're partners with Lufthansa, right? I've had people in the last few years contact me. Basically, they talk to me a little bit, and then they ask right away, hey, Austin, like, can we use your name and your image, in our pitch deck because you're a supporter of our project, and we just want to be able to say University of Michigan is involved. When all I did was answer an email. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful when you see startups pushing this kind of stuff. The best startups will usually have a case study. You might click on one of these logos, and then it will tell you, like, yeah, for like 6 months, we worked with these people. We built this. Here's the footage, okay? We really were partners. They really were clients. That's the best. Anyway, they don't give you a whole lot of information on pricing. They really want to talk to you. That gives them quite a bit of flexibility, right? Once they learn of your needs and, importantly, your size, they might be able to adjust the pricing to fit better or to improve their profits. So anyway, I don't know if it's entirely here, but I'm fairly certain they have AR kind of projection, like HoloLens style support. And they also have audio support as well for these workflows. Nothing too fancy, but I do think they can see something like this in the corner of their eye, which is, pretty nice. Anyway, so pretty small, quick company. Cool to see a company out of Singapore. I'm not sure how much they've made, but their website is still up, so they must have some resources. Okay. All right. So what else do we got? So a few of you know that I'm making a new course. I'm designing a new course right now on 3D interactive art. And part of that comes from this fact that, like, we're making, in EECS 440, we're making these cool visualizations, we're making these cool apps. And if you can't find the perfect model on Sketchfab or online, we're out of luck. We can't make the model ourselves. It's kind of difficult for us to go find a model and then fix it up if it needs fixing up, or if it needs a rig or some changes. It's just hard for us to do. And I really love to share the design process for these new courses with you. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'll make it fast. Right now, last night, I'm really tired right now. Last night, I was building a 3D character test bed for the course. The idea is that this course is about making new characters, new objects, all that stuff. What the course is not about is programming our own games from scratch. Okay? The idea of the test bed is that the students, right, they go into Blender, they create cool characters. Imagine if this block M were a character, right? Maybe we could we could get it dancing, we could rig it up, we could give it a little running animation with its two block M little sides here, these little legs. And then we would like to put this character into a game. We give it animation for like a victory animation, right? A sad animation, a running animation, an idle animation, a jumping animation. And then we want to be able to plug that into a game. Well, here's an example of that. So here is a 3D platformer, and you can see these characters already exist. The early assignments would have you taking characters that exist, like geometry of Mario or Peach or someone, and then animating them, rigging them, animating them, getting them working in this test bed and running around. Here is the development so far in the test bed. It's a 3D platformer. It feels pretty good to play. It has features like jumping, nice camera movement, nice physics, and I have to add a bunch of features as well. But eventually, the goal is you'll be able to just kind of plug and play new character artwork, new artwork for the checkpoints, new artworks for the icons up here, the lives icons, new artwork for the platforms, right? To eventually, at the end of the course, everyone has a game that plays similarly and plays well, but it looks very different. It has different vibes. It has different characters, different art style, different music, right? I think that'd be super, super cool. Maybe we could share characters. If we can get them into a standard format. We've got one student over there who did Shrek. That's awesome. And they just upload it to the Discord, and now you can download it straight into your project, and you've got Shrek working. That'd be super cool, I think. Anyway, So this is the kind of stuff that I spend my time doing when I'm not lecturing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to it. If you have any feedback, by the way, on any of that, let me know. All right? Okay, so P2 Gold has been released. And P2 is not a super easy project, but I hope you've been enjoying it at least a little bit thus far. It is a good thing to know both Unreal and Unity. And we're going to finish up our time with Unity very soon. If you look at the P2 task spreadsheet, we have only a couple more tasks remaining. At the very bottom of the spreadsheet, we have custom player avatar. Okay. This is, let me see here. Right, this is going to be where you, kind of like how you did for the NPCs in Unreal Engine, you're going to create a character, or you're going to go find a character on Sketchfab. You're going to get animations packed into that character model, and then we're going to play them and have that character actually walk around as you move, okay? That's what happens in Pokemon Go. As you move around and walk around the city, you can see your character kind of slowly walking their way in that direction as well, okay? The last thing that you're going to do, and this is something that you have a lot of flexibility on, is that you are going to create a custom feature. Much like how you created a custom object and interaction in your P1 Unreal Engine project, this time you're going to create some sort of new custom feature for your Pokemon Go variant. Now, that can be as simple as something like a learn more link, okay? This includes, creating some more UI. So here's an example, right? When you go and you open up a landmark, you get the UI up there, you show it the image, you put a little bit of text up there. Maybe you have a second button, a little bit more UI that will actually take you to a landmark-specific web page. All right, very similar to the poster task from Project 1. So you can do something as simple as that. If you're running low on time, that'd be probably just fine. You could also do something a little bit more interesting. Maybe you say, you know what, I really love trains, and I do personally, and we've got some train tracks that go through Ann Arbor. We got the Amtrak line that's pretty well known. You could have a train that follows that line, that Amtrak line. And perhaps it's a special landmark. If you can get close enough to it and tap on it, then maybe you'll unlock a special type of seed. You could also do something like maybe a special type of squirrel that has a little bit more of an interactive element to it. Maybe you have to hit it with multiple acorns. Maybe it fires back at you. I've got some fun examples here. This is a boss fight that Kawai Han and Alexander Kalams, one of my assistants, Alex, was. They decided that on occasion you would be attacked by not one squirrel, but multiple, and they would be mafia squirrels, and so they would fire back at you. In fact, I think they literally have pistols. Let's take a look. So I don't think you can escape from this either. You have to engage. Okay, so you go back, there you go, they explode, and yeah, pretty dynamic. So multiple squirrels hopping around, firing back, very fun stuff. We had a team that went very hard in the paint. They decided, has anyone heard of Plants vs. Zombies? Right, very fun kind of mobile game series. They decided to recreate a portion of that game in their A2 Go. So let's take a look. I think they made the squirrels into zombies. I'll have to check. Yeah. And I think they will actually fight each other. Let's see. Yeah. Come on, let's go. There you go. So the team actually went very, very hard, and they created like a entirely new set of gameplay systems. Right? It's kind of looks like an AR tower defense game now. Like it's in its entirety. You've got plants that will give you resources, the sunflower plants. You can plant down other plants to attack in different ways. They have different effects. The zombies can come in with the bucket, right, for more HP. It's extremely impressive stuff. You do not have to do that much, okay? You can have unlockable characters, right? So the ability to change your avatar. I guess that's supposed to be me. I'm pretty creeped out though. Okay, and what else do we got? A meteor reset. So after you have filled your world with trees and other stuff, what if you want to reset the game? Well, this was a really interesting way to do it by Yi Dalo and Justin Ng. And there we go. Back to normal, right? Just a trusty meteor whenever you want to restart. Okay, right? So lots of different interesting things that you could choose from. I encourage you to talk with your partner, come up with something that is of interest to both of you, and maybe something that covers a feature that you'd like to explore more, okay? If you're very interested in animations, right, you might look into something like a character select or something like that. Okay? So, pretty fun. All right. A quick note that as we enter P3, as we kind of get to the most custom portion of the course, we're going to start talking more and more about higher level topics in the field of XR. We won't know necessarily what you're making. And if you're making one thing, the other teams in the course might be making something else. And so it's a little bit hard to get too in the weeds, too inside of these engines, showing you really technical stuff. However, we will take you through some interesting topics that are a bit higher level, okay? So today, and this might be a bit of a short lecture, today what I want to do is I want to walk you through how to get started on these final P3 or P2 gold tasks. So the topic of creating a custom player character, getting it to move, getting it to animate, this is actually fairly involved. In Unreal, I would say Unreal makes it significantly easier to get characters animating. In Unity, there are a few different things you have to get created and then hooked up properly in order to get anything to happen at all. Okay, and so I'm going to walk you through some of this today, and that'll help you knock out this task pretty quickly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Currently, if you look at the state of our example project here, if we start up the game, we can see our pawn, and it kind of walks around, and we can move around a bit. We got that squirrel right over there. Wait, was it spacebar that launched? Yeah, the spacebar launching the acorn. There we go. Knock out the squirrel. Nice. And what we would like here is we would like to have this pawn be a character. The character should provide more information to the user than the pawn currently does. This pawn does not indicate which direction we are currently moving. It also doesn't give us any indication of how fast we might be moving in that direction. And so we need to go find a character, okay? And sometimes we have to try a few different characters because we could find a model that's really messed up and not really recoverable in Blender. And so let's go ahead and go to Sketchfab. And my question for you is, does anyone have any characters that they want to see, that you want to try? Any ideas? What do you got? It has to be a humanoid. That's pretty much our only restriction. SpongeBob, Shrek.
Those are the classic ones.
Those are the classics. Well, I've never seen a SpongeBob, actually. I've seen plenty of Shreks. We do a lot of Shreks. What do you want? What do you want to see?
SpongeBob.
Okay, try SpongeBob. What did you all grow up watching on TV? Was it still SpongeBob? Yeah. Surely there's got to be new cartoons out now, right? Huh. Okay, so let's search for SpongeBob. We're going to go to downloadable. We got Squidward here. Okay, if we can't find SpongeBob, we might... Well, Squidward looks like it might be a little bit hard to animate, given it's got four legs. We could probably make it work, though. There's a SpongeBob. It's kind of a creepy one. Okay, here's another one, T-posing. Okay. Nice. Plankton, very cool. Let's try this one right here. Let's see if this works. Okay, looks pretty good. What kind of format can we get this in? Yeah. Okay, we could try and use this model. We don't have an FBX, so Mixamo, in my experience, prefers FBX. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and get a, let's get a GLB here. So download a GLB. Okay, I'm going to grab the location here. Let's go ahead and grab this downloads folder. We're going to have to open up the Blender because we're going to have to convert this to an FBX, I'm pretty sure. Let's go in. Now, if you can't get an FBX, I would recommend just find another model. There will probably be other models that will work. But let's go ahead and I think we got GLB. Yeah. Paste. Okay. What was it called again? Was it called SpongeBob SquarePants GLB? Okay. Okay. Grab that name. Let's go and load it in like that. Okay. There we are. There's SpongeBob. Let's see if the materials are looking good. Yep. Yeah, looks good. Okay. So we got SpongeBob here, and what I want to do is I want to zip him up into a zip file. Let's call this SpongeBob, and I want to export an FBX right in there. So let's go in here, File, Export. Let's go to Export an FBX. Let's go to that folder. Boom, just like that. I'm going to call this SpongeBob.fpx. Export. And there we go. There is our SpongeBob character right there. So let's go ahead and go to Mixamo. this character probably doesn't have a rig. It doesn't have a skeleton. I don't know if we've talked about this too much, but if you want to get a character to animate, instead of adjusting all of their vertices one at a time, you usually want to give the character a skeleton. I think I showed this in the past, but if we want this character right here, this block M, to dance, we can give it a leg, just like that. Now, we can give it a bone structure, an armature, it's called, and then we can pose the bones in here to adjust all of the vertices near the bone at once, okay? So we want to bring it back to kind of a normal standing pose. Well, that's not super normal. It's kind of curving out this way, but that's okay. It kind of looks like it's walking, doesn't it? Yeah, it's kind of cool. Okay, so let's go to Mixamo. Let's log in. Log in with our Adobe account. I'm kind of surprised Adobe has allowed this service to stay alive. They don't seem to be doing anything with it. It's a super useful service. It is free. Oh, there's my previous model, Shrek Wazowski. So what I want to do is I want to turn this folder into a zip folder. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to 7-zip. That'll do the job. Okay, spongebob.zip. Let's go to upload character. I'm just going to drag it right in. Okay. And hopefully Mixamo will be okay with this model. Okay, give it a moment. There we go. I can kind of look around it. Okay, yep, that looks about right. Okay, Mixamo needs some help in auto-generating a rig. It's going to auto-generate a skeleton for our character so that we don't have to do it. Now, usually it's not super hard for us to do it manually, but Mixamo, if you don't know Blender's UI, it can be hard. Mixamo is a really, really good help for us. So we're going to position the wrist location, the elbow location. The knees are up over here, I think. And the groin is right in here. So hopefully it'll be able to create a skeleton for this strange shaped character. And if so, we'll be good to go. Otherwise, we might have to grab a different model. Or we might have to, you know, we could try and rig it ourselves, but I don't think we'll get animations from Mixamo if we do. Mm-hmm. All right, that actually looks pretty good, okay? Pretty good for an auto solution. So let's click next. And now we need to go find some animations. So what we really care about in this P2 project is that walking animation. In fact, we don't even need an idle animation of standing and looking around. If you take the walking animation and you stop it, you give it 0 playback speed, it'll actually look like he's kind of sitting there ready to go. And so we only need that walking animation. Look at the strut walking. Oh, tough guy. Look at that. Amazing. Okay? If you look at this and you say, well, it's a little bit weird because he keeps snapping back. For gameplay-related animations, we usually don't want that snapping behavior. We want more of an in-place behavior. So we can click that in-place button, and now we've got this walking motion that looks really good, okay? We can speed it up if we want to. Now, that's not speeding it up a ton. Let's see, stride. What is that? If we make this really tiny, what happens? Okay, I guess it's not walking quite as far. Yeah, he's stretching out. Let's go character arm space. So we can get the arms to kind of stretch out. Look at that. And that's sometimes necessary if you've got a character whose hands are going to clip through their body. So they've got kind of a bigger central area to their body. And so the arms are going to go through. That looks pretty good, the default. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and go download. Let's go to FBX binary. Let's go FBX for Unity. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is, but it is kind of more fixed up for Unity. Let's go 60 and let's go download. Now, what we're going to get is an FBX. we're going to get an FBX, this is going to contain our geometry. It's also going to contain that animation that fits with the geometry. So we need to bring that into our project. Let's go and create, I think, a new folder. I'm going to create a folder for characters. Okay, I'm going to come in here and create a folder for SpongeBob. Can I? Let's see here. Create folder SpongeBob. And now I'm going to drag in that SpongeBob walking FBX. Okay, I'm going to open it up to see what is here. When you open up an FBX, you can see everything that's in it. You can see geometry inside of it, which is really cool, actually, the wireframe view. This is what the geometry looks like in the FBX. But we've also got some shading information, some materials, and even a walking animation, which I think we can see right here. Okay, so pretty cool. If we bring this character out into the scene, however, it's gonna look kind of weird. Okay, let's go down to our pawn and say, you know what? I want to replace this pawn with SpongeBob. Now, SpongeBob is not big enough, very small. You might decide to fix this by going to the scale and setting it up like that. That's not a bad fix. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the model itself. When I click on that FBX that I dragged in, basically, Unity has a bunch of different ways that it can import that FBX, that it can understand and reason about the FBX. One question is, well, how big is the FBX? How big should it be really? Okay, how do I convert between the Blender units and the Unity scene units? Well, if you click on the model over here, you click on that FBX, you go over to the import settings, you'll see that one option you have under model is the scale factor. And so let's actually change that to 10 and click apply and look at that. Our character is now just about the size we wanted. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Now, this character has some materials in it. Okay, the character right now just doesn't look right. It is very gray, okay? It has kind of a default material. It doesn't have any color. It has no texture to it. And so that's a bit of an issue. If you look inside the FBX, we do have a material, but it didn't import correctly, sadly, okay? It didn't import automatically, and that's often going to be the case. Materials are very difficult to kind of port between pieces of software. Ravi was telling me all about this. One big issue is that if you look at what a material is, kind of a package of lighting logic and the assets that that algorithm needs, a material is like Turing complete. So it's kind of hard to port something that is kind of a, it's a language in a way. It's a bunch of logic between programs. So we're going to have to grab that material, get it out, and mess with it. Here's how we can do it. Let's go to SpongeBob. Let's go to Materials, and we're going to click Extract Materials. I'm just going to select the same folder. You see, now our material is no longer in the FBX. It is outside of it. We can mess with it, okay? I can make SpongeBob red or whatever color that I want. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to actually make SpongeBob, look legit here. Now, we need a material. We need a texture, okay? We need an image, and I'm not entirely sure where it is. So we downloaded, let's see, SpongeBob SquarePants.glb. Somewhere in there is a texture, okay? Now, this I'm actually gonna ad-lib this here because I don't think I've done this actually. Let's go to base color. Base color is using image 0. Where is this? Unpack item. What does that mean? Write file to current directory. Okay. I think we can do that. Create when necessary. Click. Error creating textures image 0. Okay, I'm not sure why it had an error doing that. Open image, new image. No, we don't want a new image. We don't want to lose it. What can we do here? Image 0. Can we extract that? Hey, Ravi, do you know if you can get a texture that's being used with a material like onto the desktop or into the file system? Okay. Let's see if I can download a different copy of this object. Like maybe OBJ is going to come with a texture. Let's take a look, actually. Inside, look at that. Bingo. We got SpongeBob.png. We found it. Okay, so let's go ahead and extract that folder really quickly. Okay, right there. Now I'm going to pull that texture right into my Unity project. That's the texture that we are missing, and that's why our SpongeBob is so gray. So let's go ahead and see if I can just pull this texture right into the albedo. This doesn't look quite right, does it? Yeah, that looks kind of messed up. Let's see if I can shift it around to make it look slightly better. Ugh, not like that. Offset, maybe like this. Oh, it looked slightly better for just a moment. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. Ugh. All right, this doesn't look so good. So the situation here is that we... actually, you know what? Can I import that other FBX and get the texture out of that? I wonder if I can do that. Let's grab this FBX and see if it has the texture inside of it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. No, texture, no, it doesn't have it. We might just stick with that for now. Okay, the lesson here is we just grabbed a bad model, it seems. Let's go ahead and, yeah, let's go ahead and just work with that. Maybe we can come back and we can fix the material a little bit later. But for now, we have Bizarro SpongeBob. So we're going to work with that. Okay, so we've got our character right here. And what we could do right now is we could take this player target view. And we could say, you know what? I want SpongeBob to be inside of our player target view. Let's go ahead and normalize him right in there. We're going to take that cube and sphere that used to be our pawn. We're going to just go ahead and make those invisible. And I'm also going to take this SpongeBob and I'm going to drag it right into our project pane, turn that into a prefab. In case we need any more of them, we can get more. Okay? So when we play our game, we should see, hey, you know, that is SpongeBob, or at least a cursed version of him. Okay? He can walk around, but he's not really animating and he's not looking in the direction that we'd like him to look at. Okay? So what we could do is we could say, hey, you know, as you move around, why don't we twist and rotate our player target view so that it actually faces in the direction that it is moving. Okay? That should definitely be possible. In fact, it's something that we could edit into our follow target component. So let's do that. What I want to do is I want to add a new feature where something that is following something else is actually going to rotate to look in the direction it's moving. And this is a feature that I don't think we're always going to want. Okay, some objects might want to do this, but others might not want to. So I need a new tweakable Boolean that's going to turn the feature on or off. Let's call this public bool should look in direction of movement. Okay? By default, it's going off. That means that, you know, all the other objects that are already using this component, they have to opt in to get this new functionality. They're not just going to have it thrown at them. Okay? It's backward compatible, in other words. So what I want to do is I want to check if that variable is true. And if it is, I want to figure out which direction that I should move in. Okay? So we've got right here the desired position that we want to go to, and we've got our current position where we are. That should allow us to calculate a vector. Let's call this the movement delta. And it's going to be desired position minus our current position, okay? And we can use this. So if we are moving, let's say if we should look in direction of movement and that delta, its magnitude is, you know, substantial. It exists. Now we're going to change ourselves to look in that direction. So let's do this. Transform. Let's try this. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we'll try it. Transform.forward equals movement dot delta, or movement delta, okay? This is saying that that forward vector that is always sticking out in front of our game objects, no matter how we rotate, no matter where we move, I want you to take that forward vector and make sure it's pointing in the direction we're moving, okay? This is a very convenient way, if sometimes a bit haphazard way, to rotate things. So let's find out what this is going to look like. Okay. All right, I see no movement right now. Okay, let's do a quick test. All right. So this movement delta, I want to know. Oh, I know why. Anyone know why?
You didn't set the Boolean.
Yeah, this Boolean was created so that we wouldn't accidentally turn the feature on for objects that didn't want it. And I forgot to turn it on for the object I did want it on. So let's click this right here. Should look in the direction of movement, and then we're going to go ahead and play the game and see what happens. Okay, there you go. And I'm looking around, and as I move around, SpongeBob kind of rotates and turns, and there you go, okay? Cool. So that is a good start, but our character isn't animating, right? The character is just kind of creepily kind of floating along the ground, okay? Maybe that's appropriate for this character and how they currently look. This material is so messed up. But we want to get this character animated. And to do that is actually a little bit involved, unfortunately. So what we need are a few different things. One thing we need right away is an animator component. This animator component is going to be responsible for driving the animations and making sure they play back. But the animator component, if you look at it, it needs some information about our character, okay? Otherwise, it can't do the animations properly. And this is where animation becomes kind of annoying in Unity. You need so many things. You have to hook a ton of stuff up. So let's look at this avatar slot first. If you look at the FBX that we imported, one of those things in there is a rig, okay, a rig tab. And we can set this up so that we've got a humanoid rig created from the model with a pretty standard approach to bones. Mixamo, that should work with Mixamo. When we click apply, we'll see that, hey, this FBX actually has a rig inside of it. It's called an avatar here. And that looks, yeah. Let's see here. Can we see any of our, yeah, we can see all the bones in here that comprise our character. And I think we can even rotate them if we want to. Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's plug that in. So we'll go back to our SpongeBob right there. Hello. What's this doing here, I wonder? Close tab. Let's get our inspector back. Let's go to General. Let's go to, I think, Windows got to be in here somewhere. Maybe. Okay, I'll just reset. Let's go to Layout. Let's go to Reset All Layouts. Or actually, Default. Okay, there's our inspector. So we've got our character here. We've got the animator. We now have the rig, the avatar. So let's go ahead and drag that in. There it is, little human. We can drag it right in there. This gives the animator information about how our character should deform and animate, where the bones are, that kind of stuff. Next thing we need is a controller, an animation controller. If you think about the topic of animation, right, we have an animator component, but we need some way to tell Unity which animation should run and when should it run. Okay, how should it transition between animations? If you've got a character who's in a jogging animation and then you want them to stop and go idle, do you want them to just, or do you want them to kind of smoothly wind down and transition into that idle pose? And that's a lot of information to specify. And all of that information, it's specified in something called a runtime animation controller. So we right click, we go to create and we're going to look for that animation controller. There it is. Bingo, right there. I'm going to call this the SpongeBob controller. If you double click it, you get an entirely new little layout, a new tool to help you figure out and define which animations do you want to run and when do you want to do it. Our situation is pretty simple. Right now, we just want him running all the time. So let's go in into that FBX. If you look in the FBX, we see there's an animation right there, and we can just drag it right in. It becomes a node, and it's going to become our first node, actually. So this animation should begin playing as soon as we start the game. And we can actually watch our animator, our animation controller, as we play the game to make sure that's the case. So let's play the game and see what happens. I didn't see anything. Oh, it's because we created an animation controller right there, but we didn't plug it in. So make sure you plug that in. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, you can see him animating, right? If we do that one more time, watch over here, the animator, you should see a line of execution kind of go into this state, this animation. It begins playing good, and then it stops. What's the problem here? We got some animation, which is excellent. However, we would like it to play more often. This is actually a piece of information that is defined on the animation itself, whether it loops or not. So let's go to that animation. We can double click on it right there. I think I can click on it right here. Unlock that. Click on the animation. Okay. Yep, there's the animation. Let's go to edit. Okay. We're now editing information about that animation. We're on the strut walking animation, and we need to click loop time. Okay. Now, if we click apply, our animation should loop. And oh my goodness, yeah, I don't think that's rendering quite right. Let's go in and let's see if our character now animates continuously. Let's see. I've got a gigantic switch mode in my face. Can't see anything. Let's go to iPhone. That's like horizontal. Yeah, there we go. That's better. A little bit, I guess. Scale. There we go. Okay, good. We've got our character continuously walking. So that's good. It's good news. And we can kind of leave it like this if we want to, but if we stop moving, then we need to prevent the animation from moving as well. Okay? So what we can do here is we can go in and we can, let's say that we want a new component. Let's call this animation effects. And this component is going to be responsible for speeding up or slowing down our animator depending on how far we've moved that frame. Okay? We'll have to experiment a little bit with this, but the basic idea is we'll use this component to grab a reference to this animator, and then we'll make its playback speed a function of how much we've moved. Okay? We'll see how that goes. Okay, so here we are. We've got our animator. Okay, let's call this anim. And when we start the game, I want to go anim equals get component animator. That's going to give us a reference to that animator component right there. That's what we want to change. And now we might say, well, I want that animator to play back very, very fast, just as a test. Let's go, is speed in here? Bingo. Okay, and what does it say? 1 is normal. So let's go 10. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. All right, there we go, right? Very, very, very comically fast. You probably don't want it that fast. And what we want in particular is when we are moving, we want to play with some speed. When we're not moving, we don't, okay? So if we want to know how much we've moved since the previous frame, we need to track that fact, okay? Let's go previous position. We'll create a variable to track all this. When we start the game, we're just going to set this to be by default where we currently are. And every frame, what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, you know, where are we now? So let's go vector3 current position equals transform.position. Let's go vector3 change since last frame. And let's go current position minus previous position. And now we could say, you know what? I want the animation speed to be the magnitude of that change. So if we're really jumping very far every frame, we're moving very fast, we want the animation to play very fast, okay? I think I'm going to make this, this is going to be a very small number since we're taking it every frame. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's try something like 10, okay? Hopefully, if we don't move at all, we won't see any movement, but if we are moving a bit, we'll see some movement, okay? Okay, so I'm standing here. There's no animation yet. Okay, and oh my goodness, right now it is going super fast. Okay, and I think it is, why is it so, oh, I know why. I think I know why. What's the problem here? Can you see? We're not resetting our previous position. It starts at the origin and it never gets reset. So, let's go previous position is equal to current position, and this should give us a better value. So we're looking for no motion, no animation. Okay, there we go. Yep, no animation, no motion. I'm gonna move. Okay, we're moving. That looks really good, actually. And I'm gonna stop, slow down, and we slow down. Yeah, not bad, huh? Cool. All right, we slide a little bit. That's looking pretty good. I like that. Okay, so typically the situation with stuff like materials is that the object imports much more nicely. The texture, when you just drag it on, should look very good right away. This material has gotten pretty messed up. I'm not entirely sure. I think maybe the texture that we got off of the OBJ is kind of mapped differently than what we would have gotten with the FBX. Let's see here. I've got SpongeBob in here. I want to see if we can export an FBX and get the image out of it. Can we do that? Armature? No, don't care about that. Geometry? No. Do we have anything about materials? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Custom properties, blah, blah, blah. Mesh, okay. Bake animation. Okay, yeah, we don't care about that so much. Let's see. Blender, get texture out of mesh. How to get the texture of a mesh in Blender. The UV editor allows you to map textures directly to faces. That's not what we want. Create a texture from a mesh, download or save. Yeah, I think maybe I'll have to look this up after lecture. But anyway, there is an image in here. It does exist somewhere, probably buried in the mesh itself. What's that? Fake user, new image, open image. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, well. Yeah, so chances are you'll choose a different model, and it'll probably look better. And it'll map on properly, and it'll be all good. You can always go in and you can kind of play around with this stuff if you want to. Maybe you can make it look a little bit nicer, but it's going to be a big time spend probably. Yeah, characters, SpongeBob. There it is. Well, actually, is it that character? It's this one. Yep. Can make it more metallic. You can mess around with it, make it very shiny, like a Robo SpongeBob. What else? Tiling, offset. Don't care about that one. We do care about this one. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Maybe the tiling is what's slightly off, or maybe the map just won't work at all. Anyway, so this is the kind of thing that you need to get going for your P2 for those final few tasks. And if you do that, I think you should be in very good shape. Okay. So I think, I think next time we're probably going to talk about XR and education. We'll go into some of those more higher level talks. Yeah, you should be able to just follow these steps, ideally with a different SpongeBob model. You should be able to get something looking pretty good. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or any comments? All right. I hope P2 is going well for you. Remember, what you're trying to do is very difficult. A lot of students would not bother learning multiple game engines, but you are, okay? Thus, you will become not a Unity developer or an Unreal developer. You will be a game engine developer. I think that is the best place you want to be, okay? All right. I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. I will start my office hours. I'll be going until I think about 4:30. So you've got some extra time today if you want help with any tasks. Yeah, that's all. All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Bye-bye.